Good morning, good day, good evening. How y'all doing? Okay, I am on lesson 71 of A Course in Miracles workbook. Lesson 71. We're just going to jump right in. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Okay. You may not realize that the ego has set up a plan for salvation in opposition to God's. It is this plan in which you believe. Since it is the opposite of God's, you also believe that to accept God's plan in place of the ego's is to be damned. This sounds preposterous, of course. Yet, after we have considered just what the ego's plan is, perhaps you will realize that however preposterous it may be, you do believe in it. The ego's plan for salvation centers around holding grievances. It maintains that if someone else spoke or acted differently, if some external circumstance or event were changed, you would be saved. Thus, the source of salvation is constantly perceived as outside yourself. Each grievance you hold is a declaration and an assertion in which you believe that says, if this were different, I would be saved. The change of mind necessary for salvation is thus demanded of everyone and everything except yourself. The role assigned to your own mind in this plan, then, is simply to determine what, other than itself, must change if you are to be saved. According to this insane plan, any perceived source of salvation is acceptable provided that it will not work. This ensures that the fruitless search will continue, for the illusion persists that, although this hope has always failed, there is still grounds for hope in other places and in other things. Another person will yet serve better. Another situation will yet offer success. Such is the ego's plan for your salvation. Surely you can see how it is in strict accord with the ego's basic doctrine: seek but do not find. For what could be more surely guarantee that you will not find salvation than to channelize all your efforts in searching for it where it is not? God's plan for salvation works simply because, by following his direction, you seek for salvation where it is. But if you are to succeed, as God promises you will, you must be willing to seek there only. Otherwise, your purpose is divided, and you will attempt to follow two plans for salvation that are diametrically opposed in all ways. The result can only bring confusion, misery, and a deep sense of failure and despair. How can you escape all this? Very simply. The idea for today is the answer. Only God's plan for salvation will work. There can be no real conflict about this because there is no possible alternative to God's plan that will save you. His is the only plan that is certain in its outcome. He is the only plan that must succeed. Let us practice recognizing this certainty today, and let us rejoice that there is an answer to what seems to be a conflict with no resolution possible. All things are possible to God. Salvation must be yours because of his plan, which cannot fail. Begin the 2 longer practice periods for today by thinking about today's idea and realizing that it contains 2 parts, each making equal contribution to the whole. God's plan for your salvation will work, and other plans will not. Do not allow yourself to become depressed or angry at the second part. It is inherent in the first. And in the first is your full release from all your own insane attempts and mad proposals to free yourself. They have led to depression and anger, but God's plan will succeed. It will lead to release and joy. Remembering this, let us devote the remainder of the extended practice periods to asking God to reveal his plan to us. Ask him very specifically, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? Give him full charge of the rest of the practice period, and let him tell you what needs to be done by you in his plan for your salvation. He will answer in proportion to your willingness to hear his voice. Refuse not to hear. The very fact that you are doing the exercises proves that you have some willingness to listen. This is enough to establish your claim to God's answer. Just your willingness, maybe even to get through this video. Halfway through this video, the first 30 seconds of this video, with a willingness to just say, and then distraction. Oh, I'm getting another phone call. Oh, I got to get ready for work. Oh, I have to go take a shower. One small step, a willingness to listen, is a giant leap to reveal God's plan for us, for you, for me. Give him full charge of the rest of the practice period, and let him tell you what needs to be done by you in his plan for your salvation. He will answer in proportion to your willingness to hear his voice. Refuse not to hear. The very fact that you are doing the exercises proves that you have some willingness to listen. This is enough to establish your claim to God's answer. In the shorter practice periods, tell yourself often that God's plan for salvation and only his will work. Be alert to all temptation to hold grievances today, and respond to them with this form of today's idea. Holding grievances is the opposite of God's plan for salvation, and only his plan will work. Try to remember today's ideas some 6 or 7 times an hour. Oh, that sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot. There could be no better way to spend a half a minute or less than to remember the source of your salvation and to see it where it is. So 6 or 7 times an hour, and we're talking maybe about, you could do it for 10 seconds, 30 seconds. What would you have me do? I mean, okay, those 3 lines. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? I mean, what a way to start your day. By waking up and asking those questions, in the shower, asking those questions, getting dressed, putting on your makeup, shaving, brushing your teeth, thinking about those things. I mean, right there in those daily morning rituals was like almost 6 or 7 times. If you feel burdened by the time commitment of today's lesson, of today's practice periods, what would you have me do? What would you have me say? Where would you have me go? That is actually getting into the universal flow of life. Being guided, not having to think, not having to effort in all of the menial tasks that I have to do. I mean, this is why we're exhausted by the end of the day, because it is so much brain, mental effort. But what about being guided from the moment you wake up? Getting to that place where you do feel like you are just on the river, like you're on vacation, on the river, just flowing, feeling the guidance, feeling the protection, feeling the love. That's how you start training your mind, your body, your heart. This is why I'm doing these lessons, but this the meat inside the lessons is going to get you there. Doing this lesson today, whatever day this finds you, but today, if you are on lesson 71 of this material, this is the time when you should be feeling more comfortable to allow this premise, these ideas to really sink in. And that is part of the flow. You're not getting graded. You're not getting criticized or judged. You are being held, being hugged, being loved. Somebody's holding your hand, and energy is holding your hand, saying you can do this. This lesson, all of them, in the 60s and 70s, man, this is, again, I'm going to repeat myself. The beginning of these lessons, lesson 1 to 50, is really it's a little bit of a shock to the system because it's so foreign. But by this point on this timeline of these workbook lessons is when you're starting to kind of get the hang of things, going, okay, I got through the first part of the initiation, the first 50 lessons. Now I'm it's like you're getting ready to be ready for this portion of the lesson, and that is starting to understand how to get into the flow of life, into the flow of God's energy stream. Holding grievances is the opposite of God's plan for salvation, and only His plan will work. Things are going to come up that are going to remind you of the grievances you hold. There's so many, too many to count. And it is going to be up to you if you have that willingness to feel what we are inherently supposed to feel from the moment we wake up to the moment that we shut our eyes and go into that deep, restful, peaceful sleep. It is about catching those grievances. And that's kind of the trick of this game, is starting to kind of remove them, catching them and quieting them down, like loud kids in a classroom. No, one grievance at a time. You can take it slow. The beautiful thing is these lessons, they are eternal. Just start all over. I'm on my 4th year of doing, these lessons because I enjoy them. It's not because I feel I have to. I don't have to get the degree, but it feels so damn good. Why wouldn't I want it? I wasn't catching it the first year, but timelines are rapidly shrinking, and time is moving so fast. The energy stream is moving so fast because we're on a planet now that is really starting to evolve at a faster pace. So anybody that's starting this now is going to get it faster than somebody like myself that started it maybe 5 or 6 years ago and started this journey about, I want to say, solid 11 years ago. And boy, it took some real crises, real pain for me to finally realize I need to wake up. And a lot of us are doing this for those of you to avoid the crises. You can start this work before it gets so bad that you have no other choice but to look up. You can actually be in a pretty good place and start this work, and then and then all that goodness that you're already living, you can start to feel it in your heart. It's not just a peaceful feeling because you've got the money in the bank or you've got the good relationship, because you don't want that to be taken from you all of a sudden and you just are feeling empty and dark and just saying, wait, I don't understand, my life was going so well. Because those things are always, they can change at any given time. But you want to get so solid here that when things are changing around you, you are not going to be at the bottom of the barrel in suffering and deep, deep despair. You're going to be able to accept change, whether it's a job loss, I don't even call it a loss, a job shift, an energy shift, a relationship shift, a marriage shift, whatever. You know, there's certain things we can't avoid, and we definitely can't avoid death. So again, that's a whole other video, but you know, things are going to happen in our life that is just going to take us at our knees, and it's okay to feel loss and pain and sadness, but you don't want it to take you out where you are in such despair that it's going to take you what feels like forever to dig your way out. Life is too short and too delicious. So anyways, back to lesson 71. That is the lesson. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Try to, if you're catching this video like late in the afternoon or in the evening, so what? Say these things, because it'll carry over to the next day, even into your sleep. What would you, capital Y, capital U, what would you have me do? Source, universe, where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? Brilliant. Lesson 71. Have a blessed day. Blessed night, blessed evening, blessed sleep, blessed morning. I love you all. Mwah.